What's up, board game people? I've not stopped running the last week, but thankfully I was able to catch a good portion of the news as it flew by. We're 1 week closer to Gen Con, and there are so many games launching crowdfunding campaigns in the next few weeks, and the summer's heat has at least driven me indoors, which means more gaming, painting, and hobby time. Let's get caught up. First up, live on crowdfunding now, Phantom Epoch continues to impress and has only hours remaining in their campaign. They've unlocked 12 stretch goals with more ready to go, and foreteller narration has been announced for the campaign. They're also very close to some social stretch goals, so if you want to help unlock even more of the game, go for it. Eldfall Chronicles is entering the final days of their campaign, and they've just unlocked the 17th stretch goal with something very big on the horizon. This is one I wouldn't sleep on. Tanares Adventures Ultimate Edition is past the $1 million mark, and it has a little over a week remaining. They're unlocking a ton of stretch goals, and new add-ons have hit the campaign, adding even more to this oversized offering. Scarface 1920 Bloody Business has only a few days remaining on Gamefound, and is inching towards that €1 million mark. A huge congrats to the Reds and Games team. Planet Unknown has more than passed their funding goal this week, sitting at almost a cool $500,000 with over 2 weeks remaining. It's interesting that there aren't really any stretch goals being discussed past their first one, which was blown by the first day. Finally, over on Backerkit, Gloomhaven is chugging right along and surprised everyone with a new micro version of Gloomhaven. Buttons and Bugs is a solo experience with a tiny, tiny footprint. This little box seems to have breathed a bit of life back into the campaign. Fresh on crowdfunding this week, we have Luddite, which just launched on Kickstarter. This roll and write paired with a graphic novel is set in the Solar 175 universe and priced just right with reasonable shipping. I look forward to jumping into the project page and sharing a closer look very soon. Sword and Sorcery Abyssal Legends also launched on Kickstarter this week and has already funded. This exciting addition to the series brings a little bit of the Cthulhu mythos to the Sword and Sorcery world. Now, let's get to that news. First, let's check in with the Madness campaign, starting with Deep Madness. Dimension Games has taken us on a trip to the factory this week to play a game of Guess Who This Tentacle Belongs To. There's so many wonderfully gross parts in the picture they shared with us that it's hard to make heads or tails or other wiggly things from all of it. All miniature tooling testing is complete, and they're happy with the quality, and mass production should begin on July 15th. They're still working on finalizing the print files and getting them submitted in August. Printing should be done in September, at which point assembly and packing can begin. It's looking like a November or December delivery to me. Dimension Games will be at Gen Con, and you can be sure I'll be seeking them out. Now for the second in the Madness series. Dawn of Madness is starting to take shape. Literally, it's a cubic shape, like a little gloomy with some shiny pictures on it. The core box system layout is being mocked up, and we're getting to see the renderings for the first time. This one is for Emily Hawkins, but I assume all the character boxes will be just about the same. In the way of progress, Claude Reinhardt is getting close to finish with 1% of art remaining, 2 endings to be written, and layout sitting at 90% complete. Linus Gershwin is writing complete, with some proofing and 75% of artwork left. Layout for Linus is at 20% complete. Catherine is 99% art complete and 90% complete with layouts. Translation work is going smoothly as well, but it will not be shipped with the initial English wave, but it shouldn't be far behind. It's shipping time for Castles of Burgundy Special Edition. The EU hub is already seeing a delay, but the ship should be in port now with another due in on the 24th and still other containers yet to be picked up. In the US, 4,000 games have shipped, a new container should already be at the hub with another on the 24th and another yet to ship from China. In the UK, the first container has arrived and will be transported to the hub. Another will arrive on August the 6th. In Australia, fulfillment should be starting today. The second container will arrive Wednesday. In Canada, the ships should be in port now, with more leaving China sometime in the future. In Asia, the hub has already started to send out packages. The more erudite, multilingual Witcher is on the way. The first wave is almost done shipping. It contained English and Polish copies. The second wave started shipping from the logistics centers on July 1st. These copies are in German, French, Spanish, Italian, and Czech. Expect to see your game sometime around September. They've set sail, with the last container set to depart late July or early August. The first 7 containers should be plenty to fulfill most orders. If you want to track the ships, they've included a link to the Snails of Destiny, should you be so inclined. Dungeon Universalis has been planning their logistics and has some news. Looted Dragon will be handling a portion of the fulfillment directly. They have the manpower and the space to do so, so hopefully this will equate to a faster turnaround once the games arrive at their headquarters. Standee's number 2 pack will have a total of 288 figures. I can already tell this is going to be another organization challenge for me. The bestiary cards included in the new Challenges expansion include the following factions and creatures: Dark Elves, Cultists, Ratfolk clans, Pulse Empires, Trician, and Independent creatures. Originally, they'd planned to remove several cards from the core box, but the decision has been reversed, and version 1.3 will now have exactly the same cards as the previous version. Finally, Dun Day looks to have been a huge hit and a lot of fun. If you want to see more of what went on, they have a great video linked in the update. Hexplore It, Fall of the Ancients is now 100% written, 90% designed, and 35% illustrated. The first major milestone is hard won, and it seems they've lost track of their 1,000 chapter passage estimate and arrived at 1,761 chapter passages instead. This is going to be a beast of an adventure. The new chapter they previously announced has brought the book towards 700 pages, and they're working on design, layout, and over 40 new images to place inside. This update, we get a look at the map complete with 53 destinations and 28 game locations that will each have interwoven story tied to it. You'll only experience 10 to 20% of this content in a single playthrough though. Early ship products for the project have been sent to the hubs. Orders with early ship items will change to preparing for shipping very soon, and it looks like things are on track for early ship to arrive at backers in October and fulfillment on standard ship items to happen in 1 year. Hopefully it'll be sooner, but we shall see. This week's Marvel Zombies check-in is showing off the Fantastic Four Under Siege, Hydra Resurrection, and the Clash of the Sinister Six. Galactus is continuing his tour of the USA with 1/3 being shipped already, another third going out now, and the last third to be delivered next week. Wave 2 pledges are being assembled now. The first batch to APAC, Australia, Canada, Mexico, Brazil, and Chile will be sent out first, followed by the US, Europe, and the rest of the world. Delivery estimates will become available at a later date. The sounds of Orc war drums draw near as Orc Quest Warpath Resurrection is officially production complete, and the warbands are being assembled and ready to be packed away on ships for their voyage to your living room. Now that they're showing off some of the production pictures, I'm beginning to realize now how much game I've bought. This is going to be a big box full of baddies for sure. It's official. Umbrella and Steamforged Games have officially loaded the zombie hordes onto boats, and they've sent out warnings with tracking information for the infected ships. Check the update to see where your copy of Resident Evil is located at this very moment. Asia pledges will be traveling to the hub by other means of transport, and they'll arrive at the hub later this month. It's always sunny in Eureka Springs. Well, maybe not, but summer's bringing some good vibes for the latest Townsfolk Tussle project. The Pledge Manager is open and ready for you to complete your pledge if you've not already. We now have a handy progress chart to watch fill over the next year, and the project is on track for a September 2024 delivery date. Chinese and Polish have now been confirmed as additional languages so far, and they're knocking out deadlines like pros now. Polishing and final fight details for some ruffians are being worked on. They completed all but a tiny handful of gear art. The mounted ruffian heads are ready to hang in Gooby's Tavern. The majority of unlocked stories have been written for the Odd Jobs expansion, and the new graveyards have been completed for the 2nd edition box. We got a quick update from the Hunters AD 1492 project. The Polish campaign has ended, and that campaign was able to unlock several stretch goals that will be included with the English copies as well. They unlocked 4 new scenarios, a stack of new cards, some special tokens, a few miniatures, new monsters, and more. The Pledge Manager for the project should open sometime around October of this year. This time we got a good look at the mini boxes that make up the Black Rose Wars Rebirth. The results look quite nice, and when the 6 expansions that make up the Rotos box are placed inside, they form the Rebirth logo. If they got one thing right this update, it's that the best offering is the Apocalyptic box, which has some beautiful art adorning its cover. Mass production is estimated to end in the first half of September. Hopefully we'll see this project finally delivering early next year. And while we're on Ludus Magnus games, they've received the samples of the boxes and trays for Novus Aetas Renaissance Wave 1. These will store everything in the boxes, including sleeved cards. Looks like Wave 1 in English and Italian will be complete mid-August, and they're scrambling to find ships to send the games on their way. Other languages should be complete by the end of September. Things are stirring over at Shadowborn Games. The pledge manager for Oathsworn's reprint closes on July 31st. In August, following the closure of the pledge manager, they'll open a new website with a new web shop with available stock of the game. Production of the game is 100% complete and 600 tons of Oathsworn content is preparing to hit the seas. I'm going to have to blame them for the rising sea levels, at least for the next little bit. Finally, we have a scant few more details on their upcoming Project Mist, the Arthurian control game they announced last week. The game was born during COVID and they believed it to be something never before seen. It'll be a game where the mystical and the divine come together in ways yet unexplored, and we find out what happens in the spaces between. Expect asymmetric factions, massive monsters, and an exciting journey into the unknown. Okay, yeah, I'm sold. I'll just slip you my credit card now. The pledge manager for Dungeons of Doria is closed and all proofs have been accepted. Mass production has begun. Hope Games expects to be finished around the beginning of August, and then Games Quest and Ship Quest will take over getting the games to backers. The likely delivery date has shifted slightly towards September. Australian shipping prices have been reduced to €50, down from 63. The German translation is still ongoing but has hit a few bumps in the road. They're back on track now and the base game cards will be submitted this week with the rulebooks, campaign, and the remaining items the week after. Community scenarios will be up next as soon as the German translation is sorted. Forsaken is almost through the asset submission process. Finishing touches are needed for the trays and the encounter guide is going through copy editing. Box assets are being tweaked to make them a bit smaller as they were able to save some space with better tray designs, and the rulebook example graphics need to be tweaked and added in for the new tray designs. Proofs should be the next stop for this project. Monolith has broken the silence on Gotham City Chronicles Season 3 and the RPG. The board game resin phase is complete and casting has begun. The trays and white samples are in production. Translation of Gotham City in Flames is almost complete. The English version of Season 1 and 2 has been laid out and French version is underway. Season 3 adventures are being tested, and the game boards, technology boards, card sheets, and tiles have had their test printing delayed just a bit, but these should be sent out soon. In Gotham RPG land, the rulebook has been laid out and illustrations are complete. The adventure book is being proofed and laid out. The guide to Gotham City has been translated and is in layout, and the printed tests here have also been delayed slightly. Another week, another set of updates from Flyos. Let's start with Werewolves this time. Writing for the base game has been completed. This will get shipped off to Paradox for approval while they continue working on the expansions. Playtesting is going well, and a new level designer has joined the team. On the art side, numerous characters, locations, and graphic elements have been updated over the past month. In Vampire news, over 95% of English copies have been delivered. In the US, delivery is complete. In Canada, they're going out and the last truck is inbound to the hub. In Europe, German customs has caused a slight delay. The last backers should see their copies very soon. For the rest of the world, VFI has begun shipping. Wave 2, French, German, and Spanish copies docked in Europe a week ago, and delivery should start between July 21st and 24th. Fulfillment is progressing for League of Dungeoneers. 3 out of 6 hubs are pretty well done shipping. In the EU, the hub is set to start shipping any moment. Backers from Norway should get shipping notices soon. The reprint and expansion campaign on Gamefound has been postponed slightly until September 26th. Michael would rather people have time to experience the game before asking them to decide on an expansion so quickly. He also has a few other things he'd like to include that need a bit more time. The extra time will allow things to flow smoother, and production proofs will be ordered ahead of the campaign. Delay of the launch of the campaign causes no delay in the delivery of the campaign. The Two Towers saga has been announced for the Lord of the Rings the card game. The Fellowship is broken. Aragorn and the remainder of the Fellowship must let Frodo travel to Mordor while they pursue the orcs who have captured their friends. This is a repackaged saga combining all the contents from Treason of Saruman and the Land of Shadows into a single package. The Two Towers saga will be available in October. Available today for the Lord of the Rings card game, you can grab the Dream Chaser campaign expansion, which is a repackage of the Grey Havens and the Dream Chaser cycle with all new campaign content included. Things aren't looking so great on the UPS strike front. Teamster talks have broken down and there are currently no scheduled talks on the books. Hopefully they can find their way back to the table quickly. This summer is a bit packed for Zombicide pack releases. 3 new packs are headed to retail. Iron Maiden in August, The Boys, and 2 Supernatural packs will release in July. Modiphius has announced a new solo edition of the Star Trek Adventures, the RPG, called Captain's Log, which will provide a solo play experience. You can choose your era of play by choosing the different versions of the Captain's Log, each with their unique comm badge. This is the 326-page, full-color, standalone, digest-size rulebook, providing a complete streamlined version of the 2D20 system used for Star Trek Adventures. Build out your own Star Trek stories with a captain you create. You can pre-order now and get the PDFs immediately. The book will ship in August. The battle for Ogrim is over, and at last look, the Tyranids have pulled ahead by a few percent. They're busy tallying losses on both sides, and when the dust settles, they'll reveal the official winner and the fate of Ogrim. They'll have an exclusive preview on July 15th at 2 p.m. BST, and the winner will get some juicy reveals then. Saturday's pre-orders for Warhammer opened up, and honestly, I want them all. This week we get 3 amazing minis: Lion L. Johnson, Boss Snickrot, and Commander Farsight. Honestly, if this is what we can look forward to from 10th edition releases, we're in for a treat. And that's going to put a cap on our news for the week. Of course, there's always more for next week, and there are several other videos coming up later this week. I'm not 100% decided on what those videos will be yet, so it'll be as much of a surprise for me as it is for you. If you like this kind of board game and hobby content, please consider subscribing to help our channel grow. Thank you to everyone watching, commenting, and supporting the channel. We have the best community here, so don't change. Have a great week, stay cool, and we'll talk soon.